Hello, here's your walkthrough of mock set 3. Alright, first question, nice straightforward. You just got to type this into your calc. So we got to do square root of all the stuff they say. 6 sine 72, close the bracket, subtract 4 cos 39, close that, it's all good. Write down the whole thing first is my recommendation, and then read the question, 3 significant figures, so we're going to go 1.61. Lovely. Second question, you've got a similar triangle there, so you've got to get the scale factor. Now it's quite tricky on the scale factor. Because you know it's 2 to 5, I'm going to recommend you change that to 1 to 2.5. So the scale factor is times by 2.5. Then you've got to do PQ. That's going to be 9 multiplied by the scale factor 2.5, 22.5. Okay. Next one, you've got to do a reverse calculation. You've got to do your 18. This time divide by 2.5. And you're going to get 7.2. Okay. Question 3. This is an averages from a table question. You don't know what the distances were for these 9 cars between 5,000 and 25,000. So you're going to go for the midpoint. All right. This one's pretty easy, but if you struggle for midpoint, you could do 5,000 plus 25,000, then half it. Because of the space, I'm going to put it here. 15,000. And then 35,000, 55,000. Okay. Now to get my totals, I'm going to do 9 lots of 15,000, which is 135,000. I'm going to do 25 lots of 35,000, which is 875,000. I'm going to do 16 lots of 55,000, which is 880,000. Okay. To get the total, I'm going to add all of this up. That comes to 1,890,000. To get the total number of cars, they tell you on this question that it's 50 cars, but if they don't, you could add that together and you get 50. Got to do 1,890,000 divided by the 50 cars, and that is 37,800. And just do a little common sense check. Does that seem to fit? And it absolutely does. Okay. Next up, I've got to do a volume question. Now the volume of a cylinder is the cross-sectional area, which is pi r squared, area of a circle, times by height. So I've got to do pi times, now the radius is half of that, so that's 5 squared, times by the height 12. Put all of that into your calculator. Write the whole thing, should do 942.477. There's some other numbers after that. 3 significant figures, 942. Okay. Question 5, standard compound interest question it looks like, but no it's not. There's an extra thing here, it's quite unusual, doesn't get used very much in real life, but simple interest. Coming to that in a second. I'm going to split my page because it's a Luke versus Alexa. I'm going to be very clear, this one is Luke, £4,000. The multiplier for an of 1.8%, you're going to end up with 101.8%. So my multiplier is 1.08, and I want to do that over 3 years. Okay, I've got to do 4,000 times by 1.018, so 3. There we go, and that is, probably do this to nearest penny, 4,219.91. Now Alexa, it's ever so slightly different. Simple interest, if you're earning 1.8% for 3 years, I need to do 3 lots of 1.8, which is 5.4%. You just got to add on 5.4%. I'm going to use the same method. I'm going to go 4,000 times by 1.054. Don't need to do a power because I've already got the 3 years in there. And I'm going to get 4,216. Okay. And then just read the question, make sure I've got the answer correct. Got more interest. How much more did he get? I've got to do a difference calculation. So I'm going to write down 4,219.91 subtract 4,216, which is £3.91. Okay. Lovely. Question 6. Okay. Straightforward error calculation here. I've got 184 to the nearest meter. If it's to the nearest meter, then it's plus and minus half a meter. Okay, so the upper limit is 184.5 and the lower limit is 183.5. Okay. Question 7, the perimeter, that's all the distance around the outside. I've obviously got that one, I don't have this one. It's a rectangle, so that's a right angle. As soon as I've got that, I've understood that it's a trigonometry question. This is the adjacent side, this is the opposite side. Adjacent and opposite is going to be a tan rule question. Here is my tan rule triangle. So I'm doing an opposite calculation, I'm covering up the O, and it reminds me to do tan multiplied by adjacent. So I'm going to say that this distance BC is tan 35 multiplied by 12. Okay, tan 35, close the bracket, times that by 12, 8.4. 3 significant figures. I better put a few more in there. Okay. When I come to do the perimeter, I need to do 8.4 plus 12 plus another 8.4 plus another 12. Seeing as I've got that on a calculator, I'm going to do 2 lots of that 8.4, 0, 2, 4, etc. plus 2 lots of 12, because that's already on the calculator. I'm going to times that by 2. And I'm going to plus 12 plus 12 plus an extra 24. My answer 40.8 when I've done it to 3 significant figures. Okay. Question 8. Now I'd recommend with these questions that you attempt the positive numbers first because they're usually easier. I've got to do, for example, this number here is going to be 3 cubed plus 2. I can use a calculator for it, but I do know that 3 cubed is 27, plus 2, that's obviously 29. 2 cubed plus the extra 2 is going to be 8 plus 2, 10. 0 cubed is obviously 0, plus the extra 2 is 2. Now here's where it can go wrong. Negative 1 cubed plus 2. Negative 1 cubed, you notice I put a bracket there in case I have to use a calculator. It's actually negative 1. So negative 1 plus 2 is 1. And then negative 3 cubed plus 2. That's going to be negative 27 plus 2, negative 25. Okay. Then I transfer coordinates onto my graph. Negative 2, sorry, big pardon, negative 3 against negative 25, negative 2 against negative 6, negative 1 against 1, 0 against 2, 1 against 3, 2 against 10, and 3 against 29. This is obviously not a straight line, so you're going to have to do the best hand-drawn curve that you can. There we go. Super good enough. Next little bit of question for you. You've got to find out the x value when the y value is 6. So I'm going to be as accurate as I can be. I'm going to draw a line across from y equals 6, and I'm going to draw an x down. You don't need the arrows, I'm doing it to be as clear as I can be. I'm saying that x value, I'm saying 1.6, but you'll get given a tolerance on that because you're going off of a hand-drawn curve. All right, lovely. Number 9. Now, you've got to do a total population, so you've just got to do all of these numbers added together. Okay, now it might look slightly different when you calculate, depends what you've got. 5.5 times 10 to the power 7, you've got to go right there, plus 5.4 times 10 to the 6, right cursor again, plus 1.9 times 10 to the 6. There we go. So just got to make sure I get the correct number of decimals there. There we go. You don't need those commas, but there we have them. Right, next job, the average number of people per square kilometre. So for that, I've got the total population already. I need the total land area. So that becomes exactly the same calculation. I just type all of that in, added. I've already done it, so it's 231,000, that's my total land. Okay. If this was my exam, I probably should have written that I've done that plus that plus that. Because it's the number of people per kilometre, I'm going to do the number of people, 62,300,000, divided by the total amount of space, 231,000. Okay. That can just get typed in, that's pretty straightforward, and I've got 269.6.9 and it says nearest whole number, so that's obviously 270. Okay. Lovely. Number 10. Now number 10, it doesn't look like it, but it's actually a capture-recapture question. You've got n amount of adults in a club, 54 of them are over 30, and then 20 are picked at random. 8 of those 20 are over 30. So 8 out of 20, that's the proportion that we're assuming are over 30. That should be the same as 54 divided by the total there. Okay. I'm setting it up like this because as soon as I get to that, I'm into algebra and I can just do some straightforward algebra. I'm going to multiply by t. I'm also going to multiply at the same time. So I'm just going to say 8t is 54 multiplied by 20. So t, the total, is whatever 54 times 20 divided by 8 is. All right. Press buttons on a calculator. 135 is the result. Question 11. Now this is made awkward because you've got this fraction here. Everything on this left hand side is divided by 4. So I'm going to multiply by 4. Leaving behind 8 minus 3x is 4 lots of 8 minus 2. Okay. Then I'm going to expand a bracket. Obviously I'm going to expand a bracket. So that's 32 subtract 8x. And then I've got several different ways I could go next. I'm going to add 8x to both sides, leaving behind just 32. Changing this into a 5x. I'm going to subtract an 8. So that makes this 20. And then divide the 5 4.8. Okay. Okay. Right, next one, last one. Oh, this is really straightforward. The number of different ways you can pick a girl. There's 16 girls to pick from. Number of different ways you can pick a boy. There's 14 boys to pick from. All I've got to do, 16 times 14, 224. Okay. Number of different ways of picking 2 boys. Well, there's 14 boys, so I've got 14 choices for my first. One, 8, 2. And we are done.